What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality Podcast. I am your host. I am Caitlin Kenneth Smith. And today's episode was completely impromptu. So I have absolutely no idea where this is going to go. And I'm going to be honest with you guys because I don't want you to think that you're going to come here and you're going to get a specific thing. Because I'm just getting on the mic right now and I'm sharing my thoughts and my experiences for where I'm currently at in my life. Now, a lot of times I come on this mic and I tell you guys, this is what you need to do in order to get out of your own way, to stay committed to yourself, to your goals, and to be successful. But I failed to regret to inform you the reality of the situation. I never sugarcoat shit. I think you already know that. And if you don't know that, well, now you know. Because sugarcoating shit or sugarcoating things for you wouldn't be beneficial to your growth. All too often, I see people who are handed things in life. They receive the participation trophies. And then when life actually comes and hits them, they don't know how to handle it. And they crumble, or they settle, or they allow fear to be the driver of the car in their life. And I talk to enough people every single day where I know that the majority of people are in that position, whether they want to admit it or not. They are not in control of their own life because they have allowed their past, their fears, their emotions to gain control of the driver's seat, and they're sitting in the back seat and they're helpless. And I was listening to Ed Milet's podcast yesterday, and he spoke about this concept, and he started it off with an incredible story that he told about him and his daughter being in a taxi or an Uber, and the driver was completely out of control, probably on some sort of drugs, and he was afraid for him and his daughter's life. And then as soon as the Uber dropped him off at the hotel with his daughter, the Uber drove off and got into a head-on collision. And the point of him telling this story was that he realized that during those moments when he wasn't in control of the driving of the vehicle, he wasn't in control of his and his daughter's life. He didn't have that security, that safety. And he realized, well, the unfortunate reality is that so many people live this life every day, and a lot of them don't even know it. So many people spend so much time just worrying and worrying and worrying about life, and they never actually get a chance to live it. And that's why I'm getting on this podcast today. That's why I'm on the mic right now, because that's where I'm at. I spend so much of my time worrying about, is this content that I create, is it going to impact enough people? Is this message that I'm putting out, is it going to help someone? I worry so much to the point that I'm not actually living my life. And I hate admitting it, but at least I'm admitting it. Because it's not easy to admit something like that. Especially because all of you come here to listen to me, to listen to my insight, and to learn something from me. But you're going to take away a lot from this episode. Because even though I feel like all I want to do in this moment is just give up and lay in bed all damn day, I won't do that. Because whether I'm at 1% for the day or at 90% for the day, I'm still going to get up and I'm going to kick ass and give that day every single ounce that I have. Because I was blessed with the ability to take the opportunities that this day has. Every day is an opportunity for you to get better. And so many people waste that opportunity, and then they go to bed and they feel unfulfilled and they just kind of settle into this life. Because they're worried about everything that doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of things. The biggest and the most important thing that matters is your health and your peace of mind. If you're spending your day losing your mind, anxious, depressed, unable to do things to make you better because you are so caught up in all of these emotions, then you're not in control of your life, and that's a waste. That's a waste of the opportunities that God has given you. And I want to take you back and I want to tell you a story. Because this morning I woke up and I really didn't want to get out of bed. But I did. Because today's an opportunity. And today's an opportunity for me to improve the circumstances that I'm currently in and to help other people do the same thing. Because what if I didn't get out of bed this morning and I turned my phone off and I didn't have the conversations that I've already had with people who I coach or with people that I interact with, and I didn't help the people that I've already helped up until this moment only at 1 p.m. today? What if I didn't have those conversations? What if those people needed me? Because the reality is that somebody needs you now. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're putting out content on social media or talking to people on a daily basis. You're making an impact on somebody's life. And that fucking life could be future you. And that's how you need to live your life. Doing things that future you would appreciate. So this morning, like I said, I didn't want to get out of bed. I'm in a really dark place this morning. And I didn't like it. And I'm to the point in my life where I recognize these feelings and I'm able to combat them because I've been through so much that have made me so much stronger and more resilient to be able to handle these things, kind of calloused my mind. But that doesn't mean that I still don't struggle. And somebody asked me something last night, somebody who's very, very important to me in my life. They said, how are you going to help other people if you don't know who you are? And I read that. It was a text message, and I literally just dropped my phone because I was so thrown off. It literally hit me all at once that I'm trying to help other people, and I'm trying to create this huge impact. But I'm so caught up in the everyday grind of all of these things that I forget to actually take care of myself on a very, very, very foundational level. Like doing things that bring joy to my life. I always tell my clients, find joy in the little things and make sure you do something every single day that brings joy to your life so that you're not overcome with all of the stress and your stress bucket overflows. I tell it to my clients every damn day. I tell that to people on social media all the damn time, but I'm not doing it for myself. So I had this overwhelming urge last night after that conversation to just pick up a pen and fucking start writing things. To just journal out my thoughts because my mind was just going in so many different directions. And I did, and I filled up a whole page of just thoughts, things that I was feeling, things that were going through my mind. And it brought so much clarity. So much clarity. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've been the person who's like, I really want to start journaling on a daily basis and make that a habit. But every time I start to do it, I almost feel like I can't get into it. And that's because of my perspective towards it. However, last night, I'm a true believer that everything happens for a reason. So I just had this overwhelming urge to journal these things and write all this stuff out. And I know for a lot of people out there, you're going to say, oh, that kind of sounds silly. But there's something about just getting all of the shit out of your mind and putting it onto paper and looking at it and being able to articulate it and work through things. Because I am a huge believer, no matter what you're going through, no problems, only solutions. Now, for me last night, where I was in a state where I was just like working through all of these different problems in my head and trying to solve all these things at once, I said, no, we're going to write everything out and we're going to solve everything that you possibly can. And if you can't control it, then you're moving on. Anxiety is something that we create based on our perception towards what's happening in our life. And that anxiety usually comes from two places. One, you're focusing far too much on things that you simply just can't control. But on the flip side of that, you're not able to control everything that happens to you. However, you can always control how you view and how you respond to that situation. That's why you see so many people who have been through so much shit in their life who actually come out and they create these incredible companies and they make millions and millions of dollars and they have all of this success. Not just financially, but also like spiritually and emotionally. They have the family, they have the job, they have everything that you want. And they've been through more than you. However, their perception is different. They don't look at that thing that happened to them as something that becomes their prison. They look at that thing that happened to them as the thing that becomes their superpower. And that's what you need to do. No matter what you've been through, no matter what you're going through, whether you have control over it or not, you can always control how you view something, and you can turn that situation into your superpower instead of allowing it to hold you captive like a prison. The second reason why people develop anxiety is because they procrastinate on the things that they know that they need to get done, and that just looms in the back of your head and creates that like tickle that you don't really know what's going on, like something just feels off. It's because you're procrastinating something that you need to get done, but you keep making an excuse for why you can't do it now and why you're going to do it later, and then it never gets done, and then you wonder why you feel held back, and it's because you're literally holding yourself back. People procrastinate because they're afraid. People procrastinate because they don't set priorities properly. Sometimes people procrastinate because they're afraid to succeed. They've never been to that point, so what happens if it does work out? What do I do then? That's unknown, and we're afraid of that. So, while I was in a dark space this morning, I kept reminding myself what I continue to tell all of the people that I work with. And that's the no problems, only solutions. Everything happens for a reason. And when I'm in these really sticky situations where I just feel off and where I feel like I'm just backed up against a wall, all that I do is I think back to other moments in my life where I literally thought that I wouldn't get out of those moments and that I wouldn't be able to survive those moments, and that I made it through those moments and I somehow figured it out. Because I'm only 29, but I've been through a lot, and that's not just to put me on a pedestal and just say, hey, I've been through this. You know, like I don't care what you've been through, I care what you're doing now. But what we've been through is part of our past, and it builds who we become. And who we become is based on how we handle those situations that we're placed in. That's why, like I said, you'll see people who are put in one situation, somebody else who was put in the same situation. One of those individuals excels and the other one becomes a drug addict. Why does that happen? It's because of perception, perspective. Those things matter. How you view life matters. So I look back on other moments where I've been in really, really challenging situations where I didn't think that I was going to get through those moments, and I was able to get through them. And there's one that really always jumps out to me. And it was back when I was recovering from my eating disorder, or I had quote unquote recovered from my eating disorder. You know, I've spoken about my defining moment where I stepped on the scale and I realized, holy shit, I lost control. Right. And then, you know, I recovered, but there's a lot of relapsing that went on between the time where I recovered and to where I am today. And not to say that I am fully recovered today, because I truly believe that those who develop an eating disorder never fully recover. I still struggle with those thoughts and they torment me sometimes. However, I'm able to overcome those thoughts and I don't give into those thoughts. That's the difference. You're never going to fully believe in yourself. And I think that's something that all of like the gurus on social media say, well, you have to believe in yourself 100%. Yes, it's important to believe in yourself, but you have to understand that there are going to be days where you believe in yourself 100%, and there are going to be days where you believe in yourself 50%. But all that matters is that you're above that 50% threshold. That's what matters. So you keep that belief as strong as you possibly can, because it doesn't matter what anybody around you is saying about you. It matters what you think. So this moment that I'm talking about, I remember every morning I would get on the bus. I lived in New York, so I would take the MTA buses out of Rockaway Beach to Brooklyn to go to the gym when the gym opened. And the gym that I went to was the one that I trained at when I first became a personal trainer. I just always went back to that gym because it was really conveniently placed halfway between home and college. So I would just hop on the bus to get from home to the gym, and then I would hop on the train to get to class, and then do it backwards at night. And I got on the 4:30 a.m. bus. The 4:30 a.m. bus would take me right to Blink Fitness on Flatbush Avenue, and I would get there by like 4:58, 4:59, just in time for them to open the doors at 5. And this is when I really started. I was weight training. I was doing excessive amounts of cardio. So I was doing weights, which I thank God that I found weight training when I had an eating disorder, because I feel like if I were only doing cardio, I would be in a much worse position health-wise, but also physique-wise and metabolism-wise, because I was able to at least have some sort of a muscle stimulus going on. I remember a lot of times I would like doze off on the bus because I was exhausted. I mean, it's fucking 4:30 in the morning, but also I was like literally killing myself because I was not eating anywhere near enough for the amount of output that I was doing. I was walking 20 to 30 steps a day, 30,000 steps a day between commuting to the gym, commuting to college, living in Brooklyn, going to college in Brooklyn. I also worked at another gym in Brooklyn called Crunch, and I went to the city quite often, so I was walking all of the time. And I was a personal trainer, so I was training people. I was on my feet. I was constantly moving around. So I was walking 20 to 30,000 steps a day, and then I would get to the gym at 5 a.m., and my first class was around 10 or 11. I can't remember the exact time. And there would be some days where I literally would miss my first class because I was still working out. I want you to let that fucking sink in. I was killing myself. And why was I killing myself? Well, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I promise that it's going to make sense when I bring it back. I did an Instagram live last night. And on that Instagram live, I spoke about a conversation that myself and my friend Danielle were having on a Facebook post with another woman who was spewing bullshit misinformation on my Facebook post. I'm not going to read out everything because I don't want to waste your time doing that, even though this is a podcast, so it's more long form content. You like the stories. But basically, I posted or I reposted a photo, and I'll paint that picture in your mind. And you can go to my Facebook page. I left it up, of course. But on the top of the photo, there's like a cross. They tell you that these kill you, or they tell you not to eat these. Hold on, I'm going to pull it up so that I can give you guys a little bit of... Okay, so they tell you these are bad, and then there's pictures of butter, salt, sunshine, eggs, raw milk, you got a steak, you got some coconut oil. And then under that it says, so that they can sell you these instead. And you have prescription pills, you have canola oil, oat milk, Cheerios, Beyond Bullshit burgers, and vegan Earth Balance spread. And I got a lot of great feedback on the post. We got people saying truth. We got people saying, yes, it's a conspiracy. And then we have our good friend, who I will not name because I'm not going to be somebody who puts somebody on blast on a podcast or on social media. I'll read you her first comment just so that you can understand kind of where everything went. She said, except that animal meat contains antibiotics and hormones. Animal milk contains hormones and pus. This isn't old McDonald's farm. If you eat animal products, you are getting them from a factory farm. That means unsafe byproducts and animal cruelty, not sunshine and rainbows. Don't be fooled. And my snarky ass replied with, you're right, guess I won't eat anything, shrug emoji. And then my friend Danielle was a little bit more of an adult about it. And she said, she's a mom, so she's more of an adult than I am. And she said, I understand everyone has their own point of view and beliefs, so I'm genuinely curious, what's your solution to the problem at hand? I guess I'm going to read a little bit more because everybody likes that gossip and that drama, and I really want to prove the point here because it's so important, and I'm so passionate about this. So to that, our friend said, animal products cause heart disease, diabetes, and certain cancers. Prepackaged foods are high in sodium, and the answer is to eat raw fruits, raw vegetables, along with grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. The occasional sweet or packaged vegan meat-like product is fine. This is a plant-based diet. As an RN, I can assure you that this is the way to ultimate health. So I think the biggest thing that pissed me off about what she said was two things. One, everything she said was incorrect, except for prepackaged foods are high in sodium. That is correct. The second thing, this is really why it pissed me off. She's putting out such false information and claiming facts that aren't real, and people might read that and think, oh my God, animal products cause heart disease and diabetes. I should stop eating animal products. But it's not true. There is no research, solid research, that backs up what she is saying, and that's dangerous. People are entitled to their opinions, but they're not entitled to making up fucking facts. I've literally seen, in my 12 years of coaching and training people, I have seen clients do or come to me after doing raw vegan diets or just plain vegan diets for years, and they would come to me and they would be so fucked hormonally. Their hair would be falling out, they would be cold all the time, they wouldn't be able to put on muscle, they were retaining a lot of body fat, they were constantly inflamed, they felt lethargic, they had brain fog, they couldn't focus, they had all of these symptoms of hormone dysfunction. And I said, well, why are you raw vegan? And I've only had one client who was vegan because of animal rights, and that's her own, like, to each their own, right? Animals kill each other in the wild anyway, just saying. But I get it. If that's your thing, as long as you're not doing it, like, knowing that it's the healthiest thing. But the majority of the people said, well, I saw somebody on social media, or I saw something on the news, or I saw something on the internet that told me that this was the best way to live life if I wanted to lose weight, be healthy, and live longer. And they felt like shit. And as soon as we switched them over to an animal diet, not animal diet where you're a carnivore, because there are two extremes, and the extremes aren't for most people. We are animals. We need animal protein. We need animal products. We need a balance. We need fruits and vegetables and animal products. Those who are telling you that fruits and vegetables are killing you, they are incorrect as well. There is no research to show that. They just like to use big, scary words because they want more views and they want more likes and they know what works. So they're manipulating you, because what happens is you see this video of a shirtless man barefoot standing in a grocery store for some strange reason, screaming at the broccoli on the shelf, telling you that it produces a chemical that is killing you and that blocks iodine from being absorbed in your thyroid. However, that is incorrect. And we can do it on the flip side and say the same damn thing about certain things in meats. You can make big, scary words sound scary by just the way that you talk and with your passion. But don't worry, he's going to sell you some liver pills at the end, because those are better. Kidding. There are a lot of nutrients that you can't get from fruits and vegetables that you get from meat. B12, heme iron, creatine, carnosine, all these things that we need to be able to thrive. Think about it back when we were cavemen. Yeah, we ate meat. Remember. So somebody just putting out an overgeneralized statement and saying that all meat is bad for you isn't fair, because meat holds so many different micronutrient benefits. Red meat is the only superfood on the planet. I'm sorry, but if you tried to live off of only kale, which in the media is a superfood, you would die. If you tried to live off of red meat, you would not die. That's what a superfood means. Also, in her statement, she said as an RN, and a lot of people would read that and be like, oh, she's a registered nutritionist. No, she's a registered nurse. I looked in her bio. She's a nurse. Nurses and doctors receive one course in basic nutrition. That's it. And there's a reason why I'm so passionate about this and why this kind of goes back to my story. So, back in late July, early August of this year, there was a social media influencer. Her name was Zahana D'Art. And she was a raw vegan, promoting her raw vegan lifestyle on social media and getting tons of views. She unfortunately died from malnutrition. And Lane Norton, probably one of my favorite social media accounts to follow. You should all follow Lane. He's fucking amazing. And the best part about Lane is that if he is proven wrong through research, he will change his opinion. He doesn't live and die on a hill. He's willing to be wrong in order to help people. That's important. He put out a video saying that, explaining this situation and how misinformation is so horrible for this world. And how the misinformation killed her from malnutrition. But also, he said, I put out a video breaking down Paul Saladino's video on oatmeal is killing us, oatmeal is poison. It's releasing toxins in our body and you can't eat it. And he said that somebody sent him a message who was a doctor at an eating disorder clinic. And the doctor said, hey, thank you for putting out that video against Paul's. We just had a girl who was 75 pounds who finally decided to eat, and it was oatmeal. She watched Paul's video and she stopped eating. Misinformation is literally killing people. And I take you back to my story because I would go to the gym, right? That's where we're at. We're on the bus now. I fell asleep and I woke up to the bus driver in my face, basically saying, yo, wake up. Damn, I thought you were dead. And when he said that, I remember thinking, God, I wish I was. And I literally had an aha moment right there where I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And how did I get here? And I remember either the night before or a few days before, I was on my ride home from college, from class, and I had an apple in my hand because that was my dinner. Because I had a late night of class and I brought an apple. My apple was my dinner. Thriving. And I remember not eating the apple. And like going back and forth in my head, do I eat it? Do I not? Do I eat it? Do I not? And like tormenting myself. And I didn't eat it because I remember I was like, fuck, I see all over on fucking Instagram that apples and fruit is bad because it has too much sugar. I was also, had just started cutting out peanut butter, and peanut butter was probably the most calorically dense food that I was eating at that point, and I cut it out and switched it for the powdered peanut butter because I saw on Instagram that regular peanut butter had too many calories. And I realized, like, fuck, I'm just cutting all these things out because these people are telling me to. And I didn't realize it until, like, a few weeks ago where I was like, wow, all of these things that people are putting out on social media about, you can't eat this, you can't eat this, you can't eat this. This literally almost killed me. And this is why I'm so passionate about it. It's why I'm so passionate about this subject of seeking the truth and and trying to fucking stop those shitfluencers from hurting more people. And I know that like all of this is kind of all over the place, but I hope that you're learning some things, and I hope that it really allows you to take a perspective. And the reason why I went back to that story is because when I was in that moment, when I woke up on the bus and the guy clapped in my face and was like, I thought you were dead. And I said, I wish I was. In my head, I didn't actually say that to him. This morning, I thought about that and I said, well, I was able to make it through that. I can do fucking anything. Because the things that I've been through in my life are not my prison. They are my power. So whatever you're going through today, no matter how hard it feels to even do things today, remember that everything happens for a reason, and God is putting these struggles and challenges in your life just to make you more resilient and stronger. You pray for strength and God gives you challenges because those challenges make you stronger. Whether you believe or not, whether you're spiritual or not, you have to believe that everything is happening for a reason and that everything will be okay. You will be okay. You will do the things that you need to do in life so long as you never quit. And if you don't quit, and if you continue to learn from your mistakes and your failures, and you continue to move forward, you're going to be okay. So I want you to take a deep breath right now. I want you to take your fist. I want you to clench it really fucking hard as you can. And I want you to put all of that shit that you're going through in that fist, and I want you to just let go. Didn't that feel kind of good? Now go out today, guys, and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.